Good evening. This is Maestro Cortello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today, we have a 3v3 on Deathworld Temple, and our first player is Max Power, playing as the Force Commander. Tanky melee hero, starts out with a chain sword, pretty good damage, starts out as a good early melee counter, can become an even better melee counter later on with a Thunder Hammer, can also teleport, so he can even be like a jump unit. Next up is Boink, playing as the Warp Spider Exarch, a teleporting ranged hero. Starts off, his range damage is actually decent. It's certainly not the best of a ranged hero, but he gets a lot of utility out of his teleport. He's very strong with his ability to teleport, as well as some other things as well. That's not the only thing he's got going for him. Next up, we got Indrid. Hey people, Indrid here. It's Indrid of Dawn of War Replays Net. He is playing as the Plague Champion. The Plague Champion is a ranged hero. Looks like right now he might even try to close for melee against these Inquisitorial Stormtroopers, doing some nice damage to them. The Plague Champion starts off as a ranged hero. He can become a melee hero. He has some interesting things. He can support vehicles decently. He can heal. He can become a melee counter and such. We have yet another Warp Spider Exarch over here. This one is Lieutenant Ekul. I think Ekul is backwards, Luke backwards. Our next Warp Spider Exarch is Swat858. And then finally, we got Tyger as the Grey Knight Bro Captain. Another tanky melee hero. This one cannot be knocked down or suppressed. I think he's actually going to go down in retreat right here. I think the Brother Captain is unusually vulnerable to melee units for a tanky melee hero, at least in Tier 1. You can actually kind of mob him, and he can actually get kind of screwed that way. So early double cap for the red team, 500 VPs to 468. Indrid's Heretics here getting chased off a bit by some chasing Inquisitorial Stormtroopers. I'm actually not sure that it's worth it for Indrid to kind of just keep this one in play. Yeah, he's just losing models, just bleeding models off of that one. Meanwhile, over here we have a Warp Spider Exarch, I feel about to get overwhelmed. Does not have enough energy for a teleport. I think he should just retreat out of there, or he's going to be in trouble, except for the fact that these Howling Banshees are overextended. Swat overextending his Howling Banshees, and that could have been a wipe on his Howling Banshees were it not for the fact that maybe these Dire Avengers right here decided to actually force melee. But Indrid is saying something that, yeah, he apparently got a Heretic Squad out with 1 HP against Tyger. We got some Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes going on for some reason. Dylan, you son of a bitch. That's not a good Arnold Schwarzenegger impression at all. But I'm a big fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Arnold Schwarzenegger quotes. We got Tyger right here upgrading to the Nemesis Force Sword, which is going to increase the We Are the Hammer buff that the Bro Captain has. Warp Spider Exarch there, getting a little bit rushed. He can certainly bleed some models off of Dire Avengers if he's staying in cover, but there he's just getting rushed too much. There's Tactical Marines, also Scout Marines that could actually shotgun blast him and even knock him out of cover. Right here we do have, this is Lieutenant Ekul's units. He's got the Dire Avenger into Howling Banshee straight into a Ranger. So, ooh, and the Ranger actually targets the Force Commander. Maybe the Scouts were not in range or not in sight, but at this point he should start going for the Scouts. And this might actually be, that was very close to being a wipe. And I think, let's see, ooh, we had a grenade combined with a kinetic pulse, which some very, very nice plays by Ekul. Takes out 2 Tactical Marine models from Max Power. Max Power suffering immensely from that engagement. You know what? The Force Commander is going to go down. So very well played on this side by Ekul. Meanwhile, back over here, it looks like the Bro Captain goes down as well. And I feel like it's not terribly surprising. Definitely, as I said, just with the way Heretics can actually kind of mob the Bro Captain. They will bleed doing it, especially if they don't kill him. But, I mean, if they kill him, they might actually threaten to take him out. And then in retreat, we do have this Plague Champion with his damage over time Bolter, which can do very nice things or nasty things, depending on your perspective, to heroes or units in retreat. Heretics probably going to get out of here with just their Aspiring Champion, or not. One other Heretic survives. Meanwhile, back over here, is this the Eldar mirror? There was a time when people said that Eldar mirrors are the worst and least fun mirrors around. Looks like Boink, I'm guessing he lost a squad of Howling Banshees. At the same time, he's floating a ton of wreck. So I'm wondering if he ever even bought a squad of Howling Banshees. These Howling Banshees right here, going after this Warp Spider Exarch, and you know what? They just might get him, but at the same time, it might not even really be worth it, because this would be an easy revive for someone on the blue team, but I mean, they don't even do it. Alright, Howling Banshees, meanwhile, Grenade Spike, and oh my god, Boink almost wiped his own Dire Avenger squad. He almost wiped his own Dire Avengers with that. Oh man, that was both hilarious and potentially tragic.
The enemy is capturing one of our victory points.
Like he almost nearly wiped his own Dire Avengers. He killed 4 Dire Avenger models. I don't even know if he killed any Banshees with that. We got some interceptors right here. Right now, Tyger's actually upgrading to the Blessed Aegis, and he might actually wipe this Heretic squad, which maybe just overextended. In fact, he most likely will. Oh, but he doesn't. All right, he gets the Heretic wipe, but he has to be a little bit careful about his interceptors. He might lose interceptor models in the process. But interceptors, they are a unit that definitely have been very powerful as far as actually countering heretics, even with mainly with Canticle of Absolution and the combination of Furious Intervention. Now, as of this recording, Beta 7 is already out, although I am still doing a Beta 6 cast. So in this version, the interceptors do not have a minimum range. In Beta 7, they do have a minimum range, I believe, on their teleport. Ooh, what I see over here is a Warp Spider Exarch has been upgraded with the Heavy Gauge Death Spinner, a very, very hard counter to single entities. It is an ability like full auto, except it stays active as long as you want it to, for as long as the Warp Spider Exarch has energy. Of course, that does drain a lot of energy that if you go past a certain point, you won't have energy for teleporting. So it definitely takes some energy management, and the Warp Spider Exarch is an energy-intensive hero, but it is something that can be extremely, extremely powerful as a way of countering tanky melee heroes, or any hero really, and you can really actually wipe heroes from it. We might have a wipe on this Guardian weapon team right here, but no, because we have SWAT's own Warp Spider Exarch teleporting in and getting a special attack off that actually disrupted all those units and prevented the wipe on his Guardian weapon team. So a nice save, but it looks like someone here just lost a Dire Avenger squad. That must have been Boink. Was it? Yeah, that was Boink. He just lost a Dire Avenger squad in retreat. So we got players now getting to Tier 2. Indrid did lose a Heretic squad. He does have a squad of Noise Marines. These guys are great, especially right now. Tyger does have a pretty ranged, heavy composition, and there is Touch of Nurgle, and he wipes out a Stormtrooper squad with that. That is such a powerful ability. I mean, that was an engagement where I feel like Indrid was not really in a winning position at the start of that engagement, but Touch of Nurgle definitely gave him the edge. And even if he may have won the engagement anyway, this kind of sealed the deal for him. So Tyger is being doubled, which, oh, and here we go with another grenade. So Ekul using that kinetic pulse to grenade quite a bit and to quite good effect. So Tyger getting doubled a bit. He is an extremely strong player, so it's not terribly unsurprising that they might want to double him to kind of nullify him, maybe even get some squad wipes, kind of defang him. But right now, it's Ekul who's bashing generators all over the place. All over the place, whatever that means. He could have stayed in there to get that generator and finish the generator, but I think he's instead preparing for the engagement. He wants to actually win the engagement instead of just getting that one generator. Because if I feel like that's a good choice. And I'm assuming that's what he wants. I don't actually know. Ooh, look at this. Wraithguard as a counter to Shuriken. This Shuriken is dead. And I don't think Boink realizes in time, but he teleports his Warp Spider Exarch in, and that may have actually saved it. He teleported his Warp Spider Exarch in, so we're seeing a lot of Warp Spider Exarchs teleporting into melee and actually getting a save that way. But yeah, so it's actually, if you think about it, it's not terribly surprising to use a Wraithguard as a counter to a suppression team, since Wraithguard are actually they're actually immune to suppression. And because of that, they can actually just stand in the middle of all that suppression fire, tank the damage, and then they just hit back a whole lot harder. And Wraithguard are a unit that pretty much need to be tied up. I hate the positioning of this strike squad. They needed to get out of there ASAP, but I think Tyger was actually realizing that he was behind this log, and that if he had pressed X immediately, he would have been retreating right through the heretics and possibly could have lost his entire squad. I would say at least 2 models. Looks like we have another heretic that might go down. 3 hit points, and he's not going to get it. So 3 hit points on that heretic squad, nearly dead. And Tyger is constantly doubled. And I'd say another one of the reasons that Tyger is getting doubled is that Boink he's been struggling in his own lane, so he doesn't have as much himself. Meanwhile, Max Power with a pretty lean army. I don't know if that's just been his army. He is getting a Plasma Cannon Devastator. We got walkers now out on the field, mini walkers. We got 1 Wraithlord right here, another Wraithlord on the other side. This one for Lieutenant Ekul, already upgraded with the Shuriken Cannon. This one, no shoulder-mounted weapon yet. And then we do have a Grey Knight Dreadnought with actually the Plasma Cannon. Alright, back over here. Ekul's just been really harassing this side. Just really harassing this side, controlling it. I'd say for the most part, he's been winning against Max Power in this lane. And he's been bashing a lot of power because of it. But Ekul's Wraithlord is actually over here. Ooh, and he has to be very careful because Boink's Wraithlord has the Bright Lance, so he did get a shoulder-mounted weapon. He got the Bright Lance. This is something that people have been saying it's very powerful when it was changed to actually have 100% fire on the move, just making it very good at AV, to be honest. But right now, it was actually taking a lot of damage from Boink's... taking a lot of damage from Swat's Wraith Guard. And here we go with another Warp Spreader Exarch upgrade. This is Boink now with the Entangling Web. This gives him an ability that is similar to Assail or Chains of Torment. Gives him a snare ability, Entangle, or Entangle. That's really bad. That's going to be a dead squad of Stormtroopers. Again, oh my god, Tyger just getting hit really... Oh my god. Tyger getting hit really hard in this lane. We do have Khorne Space Marines, as well as a fully kitted out Plague Champion. This is kind of Indrid's signature build. Plague Fist, Armor of Pestilence, and the Icon of Nurgle. He really loves it and thinks it's really fantastic. And it probably is, but I don't know a whole lot about the Plague Champion. I know some things, but... Anyway, we got... And actually, we have a Terminator Force Commander. So, Terminator Force Commander... A little overextended, kind of by himself. He can still counter melee. His special attack not quite giving him the... Apparently not quite giving him the big arc, and it's certainly not compared to the Thunderhammer that he would otherwise get. So he doesn't seem to be quite as good at countering melee, but he can get it. And actually upgraded to the Heavy Flamer. Now, this could actually give Ekul some issues. Otherwise, Ekul's been giving Max Power issues all game. Plague Champion going to go down here. Trying to go for that Grey Knight Dreadnought, but doesn't get it. He also had these Plague Marines in here. And here we go with this Wraithlord again. I think trying to get some repairs. Yeah, definitely getting some repairs from these Dire Avengers. But walking around a little bit. Gotta be careful right now. Here come the Wraithguard again. Wraithguard probably gonna... They would probably do some nasty things to the Dire Avengers. But they appear to be walking right into the Wraithlord. And certainly once the Wraithlord ties them up, there's nothing the Wraithguard can do at that point. They also have been upgraded to have their Warlock leader to increase their speed a bit. Meanwhile, this right here is Boink's Ranger Squad. And we got the Wraithlord doing nothing. I don't know what's going on. But that was dangerous. Rangers taking shots from that Wraithguard. And at this point, this is going to be a dead Wraithlord for Boink. So Wraithlord dead, and we have a Autarch call in from... That's from Boink. was trying to do that like kind of as a save, but a little too late, unfortunately. And now we actually have people in tier 3. Swat with a D cannon out. Ekul in tier 3. He does have a. He doesn't have anything. I don't know what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, over here, this is where things are happening. We got a Psy Cannon Strike Squad, which I don't find particularly impressive, to be honest. I never find the Psy Cannon particularly impressive. And, oh my god, Tyger teleports his Interceptor out of there, but they die anyway. Tyger getting hit so hard. He has another Dreadnought. This one's still just with a Melta, but not quite winning his engagement over here against Indrid. Indrid actually doubling up on AV, has both a Las Cannon Havoc as well as some Plague Marines. So he has 2 sources of snaring AV. I don't know what's happening to Tyger. He just lost another squad. And now he only has his Dreadnoughts. Indrid saying he must be drunk. And here we go with the Force Commander. I believe that's a Cleansing Flame. And he's also doing Force Melee on the Wraith Lord. That's not a bad choice. I mean, you do get the heavy melee on this Force Commander when he does have the Terminator. And we might even have a dead Guardian Weapon Team. So Guardian Weapon Team gets wiped there for Ekul. One of the things that's really tough about this Force Commander, even though he's only heavy infantry, but the combination of heavy infantry and just the health pool that he has on a single entity actually makes him really, really tough. So he actually can kind of tank damage just against the Guardian Weapon Team, and he can actually just kind of go right into it. Now he might actually go down, but at the same time, maybe not. But it is Banshees. He is going to go down. Unless he starts running really, really fast, but he is going to go down. And we even have SWATs in this lane, too. I don't know how he got over here. Maybe... No, never mind. Something's going to happen over here. Probably a Singularity. Singularity pulls in a single Ranger and just straight up gives him. Here we got the Las Cannon. Las Cannon going for a snare. At maximum range, though. So those Dreadnoughts are going to be okay. But 2 sources of snaring ranged AV can definitely be pretty dangerous to vehicles. The only thing is that that also makes Indrid's build quite a bit less threatening to infantry, since he has these 2 units that are not going to do a whole lot against infantry, and are going to threaten vehicles a lot. But he seems to be doing well enough with the rest of his infantry units. And here we go with a Force Commander in right here. SWAT apparently has not noticed, and he just loses a Dire Avenger squad. Terminator's called in. Look at all these setup teams for SWAT. 2 Guardians, 1 D Cannon. Meanwhile, back to the action. We had Terminators getting hit by a Plasma Cannon. But we have 1 Dreadnought being chased down by both regular Terminators and the Terminator Force Commander. But the Terminators actually take damage from their own Plasma Cannon, and they're now overextending without their teleport. Well, they're probably not dead yet, but if SWAT right now had the entangle ability himself, these Terminators would be in a ton of trouble, especially with these Wraith Guard coming out right here. Unfortunately for him, SWAT has the Power Blades, so he cannot. Oh, but you know what? That's actually probably going to be dead Terminators. Teleport, I don't know if it's back on cooldown yet, probably not, but we got Banshees out of the webway, and that's the end of those Terminators. Double Plasma Cannon Dreadnoughts. That's fun. Alright, back over here. Oh my god. Warp Spider Exarch just running through everything. Indrid's Plague Champion, not even in retreat, uses the Aura of Decay ability, but I don't think that's going to save him. But nevertheless, not too hard of a position to get him revived. He's closer to his base. And Seer Council, these are Seer Council out for Eco. He also got Warp Spiders out. Pretty late Warp Spiders, considering they're here behind the Seer Council. That means he got them in Tier 3 after. And, you know, he could have gotten that for any number of reasons. For one, it's just good anyway. Warp Spiders are just good, period, at any stage of the game, really, with the ridiculously high range DPS they do. About 70-something out of the gate. About 90-something with the Exarch. And then a bit over 100, I believe, with the Exarch and the Aspect. Another singularity, this time getting in nothing. Let's take a look at the... I mean, if we think about Seer Council, they're a Warlock squad, and they've got all those moose antlers. And Tyger. What happened to Tyger? Blue team with... It's interesting, the Max Power and Boink don't have a whole lot. They don't have much. Max Power getting hit really, really hard. I mean, he's kind of against 2 Eldar players. He's been getting hit really hard by that. All right, back down here. Yet another Cleansing Flame. But I feel like the Force Commander does not want to stick around while he's just being whacked on by Seer Council. Though Seer Council, very, very powerful unit. I believe 40 DPS power melee per model, and so that comes out to 200 DPS power melee as a squad. Very, very powerful squad. They are relatively weak for such a powerful squad, but I mean, they just go along with the common Eldar theme of kind of being glass cannons. But still, I mean, they are a lot like Banshees. Alright, 223 VPs to 119. Single cap, now actually double cap in favor of the red team. They do have fewer VPs. Tyger doesn't have much, though. He's got this 1 Grey Knight Dreadnought, which he's not even moving. And he's just got this Bro Captain just running around. Blessed Aegis, Nemesis Force Sword. Just doing it. Just do it. And he's just going to chase down these Plague Marines. The Plague Marines can't really do anything to him. Alright, back over here. We have a Predator. Got hit by a Haywire. Right now, no follow-up, though. And the Force Commander, unfortunately, I feel like Cleansing Flame is just not really going to cut it against the Seer Council, and he is actually kind of going to get himself screwed doing that. And he loses the Force Commander. I mean, at this point, he's using Cleansing Flame to try to get kills and stuff, but whatever he's targeting with Cleansing Flame, I feel is not as important as the Seer Council that are targeting him. There goes the Plague Champion. It uses Pestilent Strike to stun the Howling Banshees. Howling Banshees actually in a lot of trouble. I think they will get out of there alive. Plague Champion even gets a sync kill. Unfortunately, Indrid at this point. He uses Touch of Nurgle on his Heretics, but I think he's going to lose this Heretic squad. Or is this going to be like the 3rd time that Indrid gets away with like almost no health on his Heretic squad? You know, this Wraith Lord from Ekul, at this point, probably going to go down, being chased down by this Predator. It is going to start healing itself a bit with the Wraithbone ability, but it's also taking shots from the Fire Prism. And is that going to be an Eldritch Storm right there, just doing it? And well, that was from Ekul. I think he was maybe hoping to save his Wraith Lord, or at least punish the Fire Prism in the process. But Boink moves out of there and does not lose his Fire Prism. But we're definitely going to have the end of this Wraith Lord. There we go. Meanwhile, Plague Champion's just trying to go for the cap. Unfortunately, they're actually getting really close to dying, and now Indrid's bleeding Plague Marine models. Did I say Plague Champions? But anyway, Plague Marine models. He's actually just going to lose the squad, which is not good. But actually, it looks like red team going to threaten a double cap, with Max Power at least managing to get a decap on his side. He's still got this Terminator Force Commander, which has actually not been doing that well for him. He's had a few good engagements, but he's lost the Terminator Force Commander at least once as far as I can remember. Avatar on the way for Ekul. Fire Prism teleporting in. It actually went for the Fire Prism and did about 50 damage. And now it's actually just using... Oh... Let's see, does this do it? Very, very, very nice play. Who was that? That was Swat858, yeah. So Swat858, he is a veteran Warp Spider Exarch player as opposed to Ekul is more of an up-and-comer. Boink I'm not familiar with. Swat858 has been around for a while, though. Good player, and that's kind of an old trick that maybe not as many people know these days, or just definitely some people know, but I feel like not as many people know who actually played the Warp Spider Exarch, which sounds ridiculous. But I just feel like there are a lot of veteran players who don't play the Warp Spider Exarch who definitely know about that. Basically just combining the phase shift ability and then timing that with an Eldritch Storm. And that was actually used to take out the Fire Prism. And it's interesting because in a way, in Eldritch to take out a Fire Prism, in a way, does not seem like that great. And just a Fire Prism. But, I mean, at the same time, Fire Prisms, when well microed, can be hard to take out. Alright, 142 VPs to 119, 1-to-1 cap. Soon to be nothing. Soon to be nothing. But, still just 1-to-1. And Ekul just charging forward, and it's amazing. He's just charging forward with the Eldar army, of all things. Gets the Howling Banshees in range. I actually feel like if he wanted to charge forward, he may have wanted to tie things up with the Warp Spider Exarch first, but actually now he needs to get out of here. He might even lose the Howling Banshees, except for the fact that Max Power is not targeting the Howling Banshees, but now he might actually lose the Seer Council. Seer Council are a little bit tougher. Gonna take out, and he actually does lose the Seer Council. Wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. Did he just buy a new one? No. Or were those SWAT Seer Council? I don't know. I don't even know. Who is down here? I give up. It just gets confusing when there are multiple players of the same race. Double Paladin. Indrid saying, how can he afford double Paladins? Because he bought nothing else. He never replaced Stormtroopers. Here we go with a Great Unclean One and an Avatar. The Great Unclean One and the Avatar can get sync kills against each other. Indrid is now actually kind of being overwhelmed. And Max Power says he's fighting too and he wants help. But if anything, I feel like Indrid needs the help because of what he's facing with double Paladins and an Avatar. The Avatar is actually running away. The Avatar does not have to run away. The Avatar can stay there and take on the Great Unclean One with the help of these Paladins. I actually feel like, yeah, Ekul should keep this Avatar over here. Because now, unfortunately, one of those Paladin squads does kind of get forced off. We do have the other one still here. But, I mean, Indrid's getting pushed back into his base. It's a 2-to-1 cap for the red team. Meanwhile, over here, what do we got over here? We got a Guardian Weapon Team getting hit by a grenade. Oh, by an Autar call-in. It's actually a 2-to-1 cap. And it's looking like the red team is going to close this out with Tyger and Ekul just kind of pushing Indrid back in his base. I mean, even though Indrid's the one who actually has units, the things has to deal with, the Paladins, double Paladins combined with an Avatar, it's like he has to kind of back up a bit. Alright, and it's actually 3 to 119. Is someone going to get the cap off? No. Alright, so that's a win for the red team. Hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.